masquerade. We're gonna have a good time, celebrate some failure, not just be a hater, cause you know you wonder how did this get made? Let's wallow in the mediocrity of subpar art. Perhaps we'll find the answer to the question, how did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth. This is Paul Scheer, and you are listening to How Did This Get Made? I am joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, Jason Mantzoukas and June Diane Raphael. How are you both?
Good.
Not too bad.
Well,
Fresh from a screening of Fast Five.
Fast Five, amazing. We have a special guest talking about Fast Five this week. You know him from many things. You can IMDb him if you'd like, but Adam Scott is with us right here today. Adam Scott, look at him. It's awesome, and this is exciting. I was very excited to see this movie with you, Adam, and all of you. I was actually legitimately excited to see this movie.
Yeah.
Me too.
And it paid off.
Big time.
Yeah.
100%.
It has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's a hit. Like, it's a bona fide hit. Like, Roger Ebert liked it, the Wall Street Journal liked it, the New York
Really?
Times liked it.
Oh, that's great.
People love this movie.
Well, everybody loves it. It's made like $90 million or something, and we were just at a screening like midday that was packed.
I love it.
So did you go today?
we just came from
Oh my God.
Fast Five.
So you're still
we're
on
Fast
that
Five
Fast
energy.
Five.
Exactly.
Guys,
Okay.
I'm still like punching the like neon blue button so that I'm in overdrive.
I got it.
First of all, if you haven't seen the movie, stop this right now. Go and see it, because it will blow your mind. It's insane, and you have to stay for the post-credit sequence.
Oh no!
Stay for
You didn't
that.
stay for the...
Nobody told us.
What? That's the best part?
What happened?
Oh, stop! We gotta stop the podcast.
We'll get.
We have to stop the podcast
Once we
and
talk
go.
about it a little bit, I'll get into it. I'll tell you guys. So make sure you have to watch the whole animation sequence, and then at the end of the
What?
animation,
shit.
there's a
Fuck.
special guest. There's a special surprise
Samuel
cameo.
L. Jackson.
No,
Is it Thor?
They find the Thor's hammer at the end. It's great. Well, I will just tell you. We'll just jump in right here at the spot. It opens up on The Rock, and he's doing some late night work in the office.
Wait, do you mean Dwayne Johnson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I just wanted to make sure.
No, yeah, of course. So The Rock is doing some work in the office, and in comes Eva Mendes reprising her character from Too Fast, Too Furious. And she was like, and then she goes, "We got something for you." And he goes, "If it's not about Dominic Toretto, I'm not interested." Which leads you to believe that that's the only case that he's working. And she goes, "I think this will get your interest." And she throws down a file folder. She goes, "Bunch of, train hijackers," or what the fuck they do.
Yeah.
Who cares? And he goes, "And this is their leader." And reveal Michelle Rodriguez,
No.
who died in the movie before.
Impossible!
Fast Six.
Okay, wait. So you're telling me that after the credit sequence, we find The Rock or Dwayne Johnson
Yes.
working on this case.
Working on just trying to find leads.
Obsessively.
Obsessively
Okay.
trying to find leads.
This is infuriating to me because after because this is the end of the movie.
Yes, it is.
The thing that infuriates me is after the final sequence, everything's blown up, blown to shit. He lets them go.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, for 24 hours.
For
Let's
24
make it
hours.
crazy.
Yeah.
For 24 hours.
For 24 hours.
Because they
Yeah.
saved his life.
And
he
Okay.
gives them a head start.
Jesus. Okay, so he's just saying, this is what he's saying. I am willing to put up with another, at the very least, 2 years of paperwork.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of being on, not to mention taking shit from my boss because I
Sure.
let you go.
yeah.
After my entire team is assassinated.
Right. So now he's obsessed with...
After explaining to all the families of my dead men
Right.
that the people that are responsible for it got away because I let them.
Well, first of all,
Ridiculous.
he is not a good guy. Well, we should start. We'll start from the top. That's how it obviously ends. The Fast Five guys get away.
Spoiler alert.
But let's start from the top. First of all, my first thought on this movie is, I guess Dominic Toretto is going to jail.
Vin
because-
Diesel?
Vin Diesel.
Oh, my
because at
God.
the end of Fast and Furious,
God.
he just goes, like, Paul Walker's like, "Hey, man, you got to get out of here. You got to go." And he goes, "I'm tired of running. So he's tired of
Is
running.
that what happens at the end?
That's
Okay.
So
yeah.
he just
Here's the
volunteers
thing.
to go to jail.
Yes.
I have. If this is this bad, I shouldn't admit this. I've never seen one of these movies.
Neither have
Oh, wow.
I. This is the first one.
I'd seen the first one 10 years ago. That's all I've seen.
I saw the first one and I saw the fourth one in D-box seats, which if you've never seen a movie in D-box, you got the Fast Five is in D-box. The seat moves with you
really?
like you're in a car. It's amazing. But I can tell you that I actually looked at Fast and Furious and I was like, oh, all those characters were in that movie? I have no recollection of what happened in Fast Furious, not Fast Five. So you didn't miss anything.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
But wait a second. So there's Fast and the Furious, then there's Too Fast, Too Furious, then Tokyo Drift.
Which this is a prequel to Tokyo Drift, Fast Five.
That's what I
Wait.
heard.
Yes.
What?
Yes, Fast Five is a all the movies are prequel.
so they
to
already have a
Tokyo
baby
Drift.
in Paul Walker and his girlfriend have a baby.
They're not in
Wait, does Tokyo
Oh.
Does Tokyo Drift take place in the year 2035? Like,
It goes-
How is
it-
that
it-
possible?
How many prequels are they going to have?
because it's all a prequel.
At what point will the cars in the prequels be more advanced than the cars in Tokyo Drift?
This is like Star Wars. They are creating a franchise like Star Wars where the future films will be less technically advanced than the.
That's amazing.
Or isn't Temple of Doom technically a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark? If you
Yes,
actually look
it
at
is.
the dates,
It is.
which is totally fucking ridiculous.
So, but because they didn't want Indiana Jones to be cheating on Marion.
right.
Oh, wow.
But yes, so this is a prequel.
But we all
that's-
know he did.
Yeah, he has.
Indy was a fucking whore.
Getting it on all the
Just a pussy
time.
hound.
Just out of control. Why do you think he had that wig?
Well, I want to talk about why the news footage that we watch at the beginning of the movie is staticky. Like, it's like, oh, prisoner escaped today, and all the news footage is staticky as
Yeah.
if it's not
Yep.
coming in on a television.
Did you notice Perd Hapley?
Yeah.
Who's
He's-
Perd Hapley?
He's one of the first speaking roles of this movie is Perd Hapley from Parks and Rec.
The guy, I don't know the actor's name, but he plays the character Perd Hapley, who's the local TV news anchor.
Oh, yeah, right.
He's
of
the,
course.
he's
Yeah.
the
It's
talking
totally
head.
amazing.
I just love, though, that we were supposed to believe the whole movie that these guys are not bad guys because they weren't really responsible for these agents dying on the train. Like,
Correct.
that was like the moral barometer
That's
for the
it.
movie. It's like, well, you kind of were
But
responsible for it.
they have to legitimately be responsible for the hundreds of deaths of civilians.
Oh, yeah.
During the vault sequence.
During the vault
Oh,
sequence
How
alone.
many
good
innocents
Lord.
But
yeah.
they cause multiple massive car pileups
Yeah.
that people must die.
No, people are dying all over the place. I mean, they try to make it safe because in the beginning when the bus, a
Yeah.
prison bus, flips over like 6 times.
Yeah.
Everyone on that
Everyone.
bus was
Of
killed.
course.
Like
And
there's
dead.
it flipped like 19 times.
And they go, no one on the bus was injured. Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
It fucking flipped over. It rolled down the expressway at a violent pace.
A bus filled with prisoners,
chained.
none of which are wearing seatbelts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
And
I've
they're
never
probably
seen a
handcuffed.
bus in a movie flip so many
Oh,
times.
I was shocked because when that happened, was like, oh wow, they're going to start this movie by killing Vin Diesel in this bus crash.
Right.
There's no other way.
Everybody
Right.
just walks away. It's like a fucking A-team stunt.
Not only does Vin Diesel escape, but unscathed and uninjured and anyway. Like
Just
he's
fine.
totally
Just
fine.
It was really disturbing too when they cut back during the vault sequence to what's her name, Jordana
Brewster.
And she's laughing about how they just took out a bank.
Yeah.
It's like people were
Right.
in there.
Right. I want
There
them
were
to go to
people
jail.
in
Yes.
there.
This whole movie, I want them to get caught.
Reprehensible.
They're horrible.
If you're wondering what the plot of the movie is, we'll play this little clip. This will maybe help you get on the same
I
page.
doubt it.
Listen up. The men we're after are professional runners. They like speed and guaranteed to go down the hardest possible way. So make sure you got your underwear on. We find them. We take them as a team and we bring them back. And above all else, we don't ever let them get in the cars.
Best line ever.
Ramsey's 10 hours old and counting, men. Let's go hunt.
Is all of this really necessary to apprehend two men?
Let me tell you something about these 2 men. One's a former federal officer, been in deep cover for 5 years, knows every way you're going to come from. The other one's a professional criminal, escaped prison twice, spent half his life on the run avoiding folks like you.
Well, if there is anything we can do to help their DNC...
2 things. One, I need a translator.
Claro, we have in the public
Elena
relations...
Nieves. Patrol officer. You heard me.
But why? We have many more experienced people.
I like her smile.
What's the second thing?
Stay out of my way.
Now in the movie, he does the best line, which is "Stay the fuck out of my way," which I don't think I've ever heard The Rock curse. But The Rock is sent down to Rio to apprehend the Fast and the Furious guys. And the Fast and the Furious guys are planning to rob $110 million from a drug lord. For what reason, I don't even really know.
Jesus, who knows?
But basically, the drug lord puts all of his money in one gigantic safe.
Well,
and they are going to steal that safe.
And the other thing, too, is how much money do you think they spend? Because the whole thing is,
They're broke.
Paul Walker and what's-her-face are pregnant, so they want out of this life. They're done with this crazy life of running.
I guess they have unprotected sex, not smart guys.
Yeah.
Fine.
They have unprotected sex and they love rice. They're eating that rice like beef.
They're so hungry.
Let's talk about how the pregnancy was revealed, because there is an enormous chase on foot through a shanty town.
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson.
Rooftop chase.
Dwayne Johnson is chasing Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster.
Yes.
The rebels are chasing both The Rock and the Paul Walker
That got
contingent.
confusing.
Yes.
And they're just, I mean, it's insane, and it's a very well-crafted
It's
action
a great sequence.
It's awesome.
But it ends with Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster jumping like a 20-foot drop through a metal thatched roof.
Yes.
Landing, and for some reason everyone's dead except for them, so everything's cool. And that's when...
Well, no, they jump through that roof. They land in the building, and all the guys with the guns run up, and they go, we lost them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
You just run over 40 roofs.
You literally
jumped everywhere. It's like,
they literally do a sequence of things that one would do in order to bring on an abortion. In order to bring on a miscarriage.
Exactly.
And they reveal the pregnancy in a sewer tunnel.
Yeah.
Arguably, they're standing in sewage at that point because they come out of a sewer tunnel. And it's like, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. It's like, no, because Vin Diesel says, okay, now we got to go do this. And she's like, I can't do that. I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
It's like, but this entire, like, insane gun chase, I was totally cool with, and the baby's fine.
But I just don't want to go on the run with you.
The thing that June started to say, which both of us were like, what the fuck, is like, they're so broke they have to take a job stealing cars, right?
Yes.
In Brazil. But then at some point, when they assemble the team to rob the drug dealer, they have enough money to buy a replica safe of
Buy
the
cars.
thing. Like, rent an enormous warehouse, buy cars.
Fly all these people in.
Right. Why not just use the money for all that to live on for the rest
By
of
the
your
way,
life?
overnight a safe to this obscure place in the world.
And whenever anything is questioned, this is the response. Well, I had a life before I met you.
Yeah.
What? That's your response? Like, how'd you get this safe here? I had a life before you. Like, well, you worked at FedEx? Did you work at a safe company?
It's so interesting because it starts as a genuine chase movie, robbery / chase movie, and then it inexplicably turns into low-rent Ocean's 11.
Oh, totally.
It's Ocean's 11 with Axe body spray.
Yeah.
How many shots of the Rio statue of that Jesus statue?
Every
2
break.
seconds,
Yeah.
like we're just flying around that
Here's
statue.
what it looks like at night.
We got it.
Why
You're
was
in
The
Rio.
Rock so sweaty?
Oh my God.
He was
His biceps
glistening.
especially.
He was oiled up
He
in
was
every
dipped in
scene.
oil before every shot.
scene.
He was
And-
lowered into a vat of oil.
I like The Rock. The Rock is amazing. Should get a supporting nomination for this part. But he was so sweaty, and no one else ever was sweaty.
Was as sweaty
Right.
as
But
he
I
was.
want to talk about his team. His team was bonkers.
By the way,
Wait. He asked for that translator.
Yeah.
So that was just a ruse, right?
She couldn't
I don't
be bought.
understand.
Who knows? Because everybody spoke English all the time.
Except for the two guys who don't speak English ever.
The Casey Affleck and the Scott Conner.
They were
movie.
hilarious.
but also, why, just narratively, why introduce her that way, where he asks for a specific person in this new country? Why not just have her? Wouldn't it be more interesting to introduce a character like, have her come in and meet him, and he be like disappointed that it's someone brand new?
He wanted
but-
her because she couldn't be bought.
Right, because she's brand new.
That's it. But how do you
because
get
she's
this
a
research?
Because she's avenging her dead husband.
Yes, she's avenging her dad.
Oh, Jesus.
So she's not
I
gonna take
didn't
bribes.
even know that.
Really?
Oh.
Remember
When he goes to
shrine?
his house? And,
Yeah, I remember Vin Diesel going to her apartment.
She has a big headshot of herself.
Yes, she does.
I'm also confused about the girl who on the Fast Five team when she goes to seduce somebody to get a handprint, which...
Yeah.
First of all,
I love that part.
they need to get a handprint, so she decides to get this rich guy to touch her ass,
Yeah.
and then you're going to use her pants to get the
Not her
They
pants,
did
her
do
bathing
that, but
suit
they
bottoms.
didn't.
Would you can't get your fingerprints off a fabric?
Paul,
can you?
yes, you can.
Don't worry about it. Do not
They
worry.
have technology in this movie that if they just sold, they could live forever.
Okay, but my question about the translator is why did she pick up that necklace? And then why was she wearing it in the next couple of scenes?
But wait, where did
She was so
When
masculine.
Vin Diesel rescues her, his necklace falls on the ground.
Oh.
She picks
And
it
then-
up and then wears it like a talisman.
I was like, what the fuck is going on with this necklace? I didn't understand
Well,
what
first
was
of
going on.
all, yeah, the necklace. I don't understand why the necklace was his power. It was like all of a sudden, like, are we supposed to know that Dom loves this necklace?
Right.
I don't
Like,
know.
well,
I thought
think-
maybe it was from one of the other
I
fasts.
think it's from one of the other movies. I think it's a dead person's necklace.
Oh, okay.
Did
Lenny's
you
or
say
something?
I thought it was from one of the other fasts?
I sure did.
Okay, I just want to comment on the actor who played the main bad guy, who we know is bad simply because he tells us in his office.
Yes.
Joaquin de Alameda, he was the bad guy in Clear and Present Danger, I
Yes.
think.
Oh, wow.
But I can never, even back then, I could never get past the fact that he looks exactly like Phil Hartman.
Yes.
He does.
Spanish.
It,
Oh my God,
it
he
always
does.
seems like it's just Phil Hartman
Yes.
making
Oh my God,
fun
he
of
does.
bad guy acting.
Yeah, I feel like Phil Hartman played this character on SNL.
God.
Definitely,
I
like it's crazy. You're so right.
Yeah.
That guy is. Oh man. Well, another thing that we know about this movie is obviously I've put this together that Butch Cassidy and Sundance survived their jump because of Vin Diesel and Paul Walker could survive what was technically like a 200-foot drop.
More.
Off with a speeding car off a cliff, and they both decided to jump out
That
with
was
no
amazing.
parachute.
That
Yeah,
was
I
an
loved it.
awesome,
That was amazing.
awesome
Yeah.
stunt.
It was
I
a great,
loved that.
Yeah.
great sequence.
Incredible.
But then when they surface in the water, there's no like, holy shit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They just
They just sort of
continue
bob
their
up.
conversation.
Not only
Yeah,
that,
like as if they just did a cannonball. Like, hey, that was a guy.
Not only that, when they go and then meet up with Jordana Brewster, they're not like, you're not going to believe
I know.
what just happened to
Well,
us.
that's
Which
because-
is what I do every scene.
Absolutely.
Every time I met a new person in that movie, I'd be like, dude, yesterday, I fucking drove off a cliff and jumped into water.
And I'm fine.
I'm nothing. I think I am Jesus Christ. Nothing hurts me. Well, that scene was followed by them getting arrested, and then Vin Diesel being hung by his hands by handcuffs, which he just broke.
Yeah,
For
no problem.
No problem. Just broke through
There's
the handcuffs.
nothing-
Because he had his necklace on.
Nothing.
Which,
these
by the
guys
way, he
can't get
didn't
out
have
of.
his necklace on in that scene. He did not
He did.
wear.
What?
Well, maybe the
I
necklace
noticed
is
that gap.
kryptonite then.
Oh, God.
I think that was just somebody forgot to put the necklace on him, but he broke through handcuffs with his bare
blaming that on wardrobe?
hands.
How about
No,
the Matt Schultz character? And Matt
Who is
Schultz.
Matt Schultz?
Matt Schultz played the guy from the
Vin.
first movie.
Oh, yes.
He was in Torque, so I know Matt. Actually.
Matt, as in the history of the world, I guess is Dom's brother, right? Like, are they really brothers, or are they just
no,
like?
they were just like
Oh,
close
Vince?
buddies.
This is a character
Okay.
named Vince?
Yeah, and when Paul Walker came into the fold in the first movie, Vince got really jealous and territorial and didn't want him to become buddies
Right.
with.
And he was like, he's a cop. He's a
got
cop.
it,
Right.
Got it.
So when they're walking up the stairs at the beginning of the movie, and he asks Paul Walker, he's like, "So what's it like?" And Paul Walker's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What's it like being on the other side of a wanted poster?" And I was just like, "The other." Oh, okay, that doesn't make any sense.
I also have an idea that they in the movie they go to rob this drug dealer and they're wearing masks, and then at the end they go, "Who should we say is robbing us?" And they rip off their masks and they go, "Tell them us."
Yeah.
So why wear masks at
the first
all?
place.
Yeah, they don't need to even wear masks the entire time. Like,
Yeah.
they have this dramatic reveal that they were going to show their faces to
Yeah.
everybody.
Point.
Okay, like the heist movies or robbery movies, they make such a big deal out of the plan and the fake outs and all that stuff. In this movie, I genuinely felt like they didn't have any plan.
No.
They were just
No.
freestyling it
Not
at
at
every
all.
moment.
Yes.
They were like, well, let's go and get some cars. So they go and they have just car porn of just they get this kind of
Yeah.
car and drive it around. They get that kind of car and drive it around.
They get
And then-
invisible cars.
Then somebody's like, well, we need to be invisible cars. And then they're like, well, then that's what we'll get. And then they just go and get police cars. And I was like,
But that was-
hey, dildos, why don't you just get police cars from the beginning? Because that's what would be in a police station.
But also, that was the biggest thing. It's like Vin Diesel was waiting for that. They're like, man, the only way we're going to beat these cameras is get invisible cars. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll get those. Like, but it was like, well then, where were you?
Yeah.
They've been testing these cars for what seemed like weeks.
But was probably hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. You would expect a movie like this to be really invested in what everyone's part of the plan is going to be, and then watch it either foiled or them figure something else out.
The other thing they do is they'd be like, "We're gonna have to assemble a team, Paul Walker. We're gonna have to assemble a team," and then big music cue, and then we need a demolitions expert, and then it's this guy. We need a talker, and everybody has their own role, but then none of them really do their role. They just all do everything.
And Tyrese was terrible at being the talker.
Terrible.
Although I thought Tyrese did a great job in the movie.
First of all,
of course he
I thought he did wonderful.
But he was when he was trying to talk his way into something through the glass. Remember?
Yeah.
And he was just the guy's like, no, fuck you.
And
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, he couldn't win him over because it was a guy. He could soft talk the girl. But first of all, he goes into that police precinct. Everyone in Rio are looking for these people. That would be impossible.
That's like when Jordana Brewster went to the market.
Yeah, just
hey, dum-dum, don't go to a fucking market.
In
what are you doing?
Dress.
I know. Also, when they finally get The Rock on their team,
yes,
then their next move is just to bulldozer their way into the cop station.
That was a brand new plan.
The biggest cop in the whole country, the guy running the entire game on your side now. You're not going to utilize him to get in and maybe finesse your way in to get the...
He has a special car that can go through cement. walls. Just go through a cement wall.
Okay, but by the way, too, the craziest part about that is after they get ambushed and they get back in that armored car, there are 5 drivers in that car that are amazing.
Yeah.
And the translator is driving them to the police.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
That's right.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my God! Oh, this is the thing I was going to say before. When that guy Matt Schultz says everybody on the other side of a wanted poster, technically in Fast and Furious, the 4th movie, the Paul Walker is a bad guy, but yet he shows up to Vin Diesel's trial in the beginning of the movie. He was implicated in the reason why Vin Diesel is going to jail. He was running drugs from Mexico to the United States. He's like, I'll pop in here and I'll watch. I'll go to the place where all the law enforcement... These people have no problem walking into places where law enforcement are at all times.
Everything is open.
Never being disguised.
Yes.
Never
or
trying to be
having
disguised.
a nighttime police car joyride.
Right.
Well, that's what you wanted to see. It's Fast 5. All your characters all racing together for $1 million.
But it's usually in movies, if your main characters are criminals, they're unjustly accused. They're fighting for justice of some sort.
Right.
These people are just assholes who
they want cash,
destroy things.
They're all they're all killers too.
No.
They're just even The Rock, who's a good guy. At the end, The Rock gets on their side because he's gonna, he wants revenge too for his team being killed. The Rock just goes up and just fucking puts 2 bullets in that guy's head. So cold, bam, bam. It's
but
you're
again,
all awful.
But his team wouldn't have been killed had it not been for these other fast guys.
Right.
It was
it would have been maybe a cool ending if he actually turns and he arrests them, and then that's a cliffhanger because they're obviously going to have another one.
Exactly.
Or joins them.
Well, let's first of all, The Rock fight with Vin Diesel is like Hulk. It's like 2 Hulks fighting because they're not fighting as much as just throwing each other through walls.
They literally throw each other through multiple concrete walls.
And Vin Diesel at one point literally... The Rock throws his face into a car. It dents the side of the car. The glass is there. No damage to anyone's face. No blood is spilled.
People in this movie are brutalized to a degree that would make normal people dead.
Oh, immediately.
And they are unbruised, uncut. Nobody suffers an injury that at all impacts them for the rest of the movie, even remotely.
Yeah.
Including, at one point, Paul Walker, drives a fucking truck into a moving train.
Yes.
At the beginning of the movie, he drives a truck into a moving train, which explodes. He jumps off onto Vin Diesel's car, they fly into the ocean, and then it's whew, can you believe that?
Also, the whole reason why the bad guys are chasing them is because they have a microchip that was in a regular GPS of a car that, detailed every drug drop in the country.
Like, they didn't have that information on the computer that they transferred it from onto, like, what?
The dumbest plan. It would be like, it's the dumbest plan of all time. It's like, oh yes, we'll keep all of our secret information on a microchip in a stolen car. Like, did not understand that.
Nothing made sense.
And I also love that on the train, when Jordana Brewster went into that room, that all the keys to the car were in like a glass, like, don't break in case of emergency type of box. Like, why?
I don't even remember that.
She broke into a box and then took out all those keys.
Yeah. Also, the two guys that they were working with, the two guys from Rio, they're like, we got to kill. Like, don't they literally get in front of the car and like, we're gonna kill these guys later, right there? But they say in Spanish, like they're 2 feet away from them. And it's like, oh well, we're gonna really bet on the fact that they don't speak Spanish,
right?
And just ultimately just say our plan out loud right away, right next to them.
He's like, just wait for my signal. We're gonna fuck these guys over. If I was Jordana Brewster, I'd be like, why didn't you tell me 10 minutes ago? Why now, when we're on the train, I'm about to drive the car off of the moving train on. What do you want me to do? Or Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster are walking to meet Vin Diesel, and they see the two DEA agents just sitting on the train, and they don't even bat an eye. They just walk right on.
These are the criminals that have no problem going in front of. They're supposedly as Paul Walker said, we're at the top of the most wanted list. Yeah. But I guess no one looks at it because it doesn't make a difference.
We haven't even touched the 15-minute car chase in which the two guys are towing a 10-ton safe behind them. It destroys all of Rio.
It destroys. First of all, two cars that don't look like. Sure, they're muscle cars.
One of them's a Volkswagen, by the way.
Two Volkswagen Jettas.
Really?
Yes.
One of them is literally a Volkswagen.
They're both the same car because Vin Diesel made a big deal out of the first time I'm ever driving a car you can actually purchase, and we're both driving the same car.
Really?
Yeah. So like.
Wow.
And so,
crazy
but
product
they pull
placement.
that. They pull a safe. That safe. How much did that safe?
There's no way they would have. And pulled it like so easily and so fast.
Yeah. that safe had no problem being connected to two moderately speedy cars, but it had no torque on it that could rip it out.
Not only pull it down the street, but have it tear through a bank and go through walls and windows.
What kind of chain? I mean, it didn't rip off the fender of the car or anything.
Right.
And they could control it. They could control it by driving. They could make it like swing like like a weapon into like their enemy's cars.
Oh, they're really good drivers.
And they're making hairpin curves too. Like, oh, let's turn right now. What?
No.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I want to play this clip. This is Vin Diesel talking about him and The Rock on screen together. Finally.
Not only were Dwayne and I talking about doing something together for years. Not only
it gets better.
Is it obvious that there's a fantastical element to taking whatever action heroes you got on the table in your era, and potentially the two biggest ones, and the two guys that represent formidability, and put them together.
Watch this.
That's fun for any audience member.
But what else?
That's fun for cinema.
Whoa!
That's a big. The fact that there's that fight scene between Dom and Hobbs is an event in cinema, let alone just the fact.
It's an event in cinema.
It's like when Pacino and De Niro get together in Heat.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh.
An event of cinema,
guys.
I mean, I was gonna say that fight scene just seemed like gay.
Oh yeah, they're in love with each other.
They were just devouring each other.
Oh, but was that the thing? Like Vin Diesel kills everybody with a pipe wrench. Like that. Like that's his weakness because like they get into this fight and it's like he sees a pipe wrench on the floor. He's like, ah!
Oh yeah.
I'll drop it. Like that's how he killed the other guy in the other Fast and Furious movie. He's like, does that hit? Like
that's his weapon of choice.
I did say to Jason during the movie, has America been asking for these two to face off? Like there was so much.
Wait,
up to it.
Which movie did he kill someone with a wrench? I don't.
The first movie, that's like his crime. Like his crime is like that. Why he's a bad guy is he killed a bad guy with a wrench. So
there's a wrench sitting next to The Rock's head.
And it's like, but it's not. I just love it that's his weakness. It's like, oh shit, this wrench I must bash heads in,
must murder with a wrench.
I'm more fascinated about what's going on in their personal lives. Like now they have their $1 million. They're successful.
She's drinking an enormous pineapple.
No, coconut. She's drinking a coconut.
That was so weird.
I was like, oh, just hanging out on the beach, drinking a full-sized coconut.
I love that choice because it's like, okay, I guess this isn't relaxing enough. Someone get a coconut in here.
But you can't be-
Just stick a straw in it. We gotta do this.
She's drinking a gigantic coconut, and all I could think was, what are Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster talking about? Like, what do they have in common? At the end of the day, they're just...
I literally feel like
what are they talking
I would love it if they just did like 4 solid minutes of them just being like, meh, 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 like just like they don't even know what to do.
And then Vin Diesel comes to visit, and oh man, the speeches about family. How about when Vin Diesel and Paul Walker have the monologues about their dads on the rooftop? He's like, my dad, he had parties for everybody. Mi familia. Like, all this shit, like, about family, and these are criminals. They're bad, bad dudes.
They escape everything all the time. The thing this movie does is, right at the crucial moment where, like, something needs to happen so people can get away, they just cut away to them having gotten away.
Yeah. And whenever two dudes need to have a chat, they're always having a beer near a window so they can also reflect and look out the window. And I remember that from the first Fast and the Furious movie 10 years ago. I remember thinking like, wow, that beer looks pretty good. I guess I should talk to my buddies always with a beer. Why don't I do that? Like, these guys seem to have their shit together. And they're doing it. Must just be a thing that they...
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they go to the under the bridge car racing circuit with Mini John Turturro, right?
Baby John Turturro.
Baby John Turturro.
That'll be its own spinoff.
When they get there, am I to presume that the way they're getting that blue car and these other cars is that they're winning races?
Yes, but they don't show
those races.
That's the whole thing about the
You
franchise.
guys, they had to cut it down to 2 hours and
10 minutes.
I was
and
like,
we had to make some tough choices.
I was like, oh, we're about to see some of what makes
some old school,
Fast and Furious drag racing.
You don't get to
Never
see it.
They just won, apparently.
Oh, man.
That's DVD, guys.
I just like that wherever they are in the world, they can find the festival of douchebags under a bridge celebrating paint jar porn.
I also want to know more about that first drug house that they robbed, where all those women were just counting money in bras.
Yeah. Yes.
And was that because they didn't want...
So they can't steal.
They can't steal.
Yeah. It's PG-13, so even when they kill people violently in that one scene, you're like, oh, did he just kill him, or did he just
right. Even the squibs weren't red. Like, I saw some guys lying on the ground, and they had, like, dark brown blood spots on their shirts.
There is a level of Call of Duty Modern Warfare that is the favelas of Rio. So it's this movie... All the guys, I was noticing this, there's a lot of the action sequences look exactly like the video game, and all of the guns that people carry are the guns in the game.
Genius. That's why this movie is genius.
It's literally that movie, and I know I say literally a lot, guys. You don't have to write about it on the boards. It is that sequence of the game as this movie. I was like, this is amazing.
I want to talk about we touched on it before. When The Rock gives them 24 hours to get out of town.
Oh my God.
Now, that was before he realizes that they duped him and they stole all the money. Because The Rock was like, hey, look, I'm going to keep the money, but you guys can get out of town. Now, then he realizes that they stole all the money, and he smiles like...
He loves it.
he laughs.
He loves it. He loves it.
They got me.
And then where did those guys go? Back to the same fucking safe house that The Rock knows about.
I said that.
Everybody else knows about.
I said that in the movie.
Why would you go back there?
Exactly.
Let's meet up at the one place that everyone knows that's where we are.
For the first half of the movie, everywhere they go, they're like, we've been burned. We gotta get out of here. And they're always moving, always moving. For the second half of the movie, where more people than ever are looking for them, they're in an enormous warehouse.
Right.
They're not that bright.
They are the
They're so dumb. They're so dumb that those two guys, the two the guys that don't speak English, they take their $10 million each, go to Rio, and then bet it on roulette
on Monaco.
They go to Monaco, and they're betting it. One bet's on red, one bet's on black.
But then they don't show which one won.
It comes up green. It comes up green. I'm pretty sure because it's bouncing. The green tile is coming round.
Oh man.
My prediction, the way that here's the next level of this movie should be Fast and Furious versus Predators. That to me would be unbelievable because you take the conceit that the Predators bring them to their Predator Island planet, just like in the last Predator.
Yeah, which is great.
Dudes, we have to do Predators.
That's a great movie. It's so
Holy
great.
shit, that
It's
movie is next
bananas.
level bananas.
Wait, is that the one with like Topher Grace
And Adrian Brody?
I heard that's awesome.
Dude,
it's great.
there is a
Like
Lawrence
this.
Fishburne scene in that movie where Lawrence Fishburne is literally doing Marlon Brando from Apocalypse Now, where he's
wow.
just whispering all of his lines. And he goes, at one point, he goes, "There's some water over there if you'd like some." That's one of his lines.
Oh man, Predators.
Why
We
have
got-
I not seen Predators?
Oh, you got. I just got it on Netflix. It's worth
It's
it.
genius.
Every week we ask our audience to chime in and help us out and play a little game with us.
You've got mail.
And we asked them last time to come up with some more titles, the sequel of Fast and the Furious. Now, I forgot to print these out, so I'm going to have to read them by myself. But here are some titles of the new Fast and the Furious movies that people came up with. Chester said, Fastest and Furiousest, Cape Town Throwdown, which I like that. This one was the one where the Fast and Furious team goes green. It's called Fast and Furious, and the 6 is a G for green. And it says, on the grid, off the grid, off the chain. And then, let's see what else here. This one was Fast and Furious 666. They died, now they're racing back from hell.
Okay,
It's like
wait, that's the plot, by the way. They should, that's the
new
Ghost
Cable,
Rider, right?
Angry.
That's
No, that's
Drive
Drive Angry.
Oh, it is. Okay.
And this one, Fucking Furious. That's Chris Steffen. Donald Bowman wrote, Quick and Angry. We bought a thesaurus. The Fast and the Serious.
I gotta say, they weren't so furious in this movie to me.
No, they were pretty relaxed.
They seemed pretty well adjusted.
Yeah, they were, well, you know, they're also trying to keep this rivalry up between Paul Walker and Dominic, and Vin Diesel. It's like, all right, you guys have now traveled the world.
Yeah.
You're buddies a million times over.
Oh, really? That was a part of the other fasts?
Oh, yeah, they don't like each other.
Yeah, I didn't pick up. I mean,
The other-
first of
the
all,
other
they seem like
F
great
and Fs?
friends.
Oh,
The other
yeah.
F and
The other
Fs?
F squared?
If you want to talk about
The other
even the
Fasts.
franchise in general, like Paul Walker's an undercover cop in the first one. In the second one, he's a bad guy. In the fourth one, he's working for the FBI. And then this one, he's just a straight out criminal.
I would love it if the next movie was literally in 2077, and it maybe like was them in spaceships in outer space, like same beats, but just like really take it to a crazy place.
And since nothing affects them, of course, they wouldn't have aged.
This is
They look exactly the
This
same.
is the one that I think is the best. The best one of the write-ins were from Julian Vargas, who wrote "The Fast and the Führer." It's a prequel, story of how two Jewish car racers managed to escape occupied Poland by winning a Nazi death race. Now that would be
That's
interesting.
actually that's a pretty good idea.
Man, this movie was great. I actually was jealous that you guys were seeing it today. I wanted to see it again.
It was a blast.
It was great.
It was
I
a
would
great
totally
time.
see this movie again.
This is
Yeah.
a totally worthwhile How Did This Get Made movie.
And see it, watch the end for the Eva Mendes scene. Eva
Yeah.
Mendes comes in. I didn't even realize Eva Mendes was a bad guy, or she's a bad guy because she's a cop. But, yeah,
Are
Michelle
there
Rodriguez.
any blondes in any of the fasts?
That's a really good
There
question.
is like it is anathema for there to be hot blondes in these movies. I think.
Yeah.
That's why it's a
interesting.
multicultural movie.
Yeah.
It's
No,
different.
it's interesting.
$90 million. This movie.
Yeah. In 3 days.
That's
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's huge. This movie is giant.
I can see why, though. I mean, even though it's insane and nothing happens in this movie would actually happen, it's like real stunts.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
It's like
It's
great
exciting.
stunts.
Amazing
Well-crafted
driving,
sequences.
amazing- yeah.
the CGI, it's like it doesn't overly use
Right.
CGI stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's there to make like those crazy stunts possible, but it looks good. It looks
There-
like a lot of practical stunt work with the
There-
cars and
Yeah,
stuff.
There is
Oh,
one.
absolutely.
There's one amazing shot. You can see it in the train scene. It's just worth watching if you can check it out. Vin Diesel's driving a car that has like a convertible top, and his whole thing is because he's a bald guy. You can CGI his face on other actors really easy, so you can see one shot just an odd-faced Vin Diesel guy
that's
like in the
great.
car driving like this. So yeah, look for the CGI Vin Diesel face. Real driving CGI Vin Diesel.
And if you're seeing the movie and you see it, feel free to just shout out at the theater you're at, CGI Vin Diesel face!
That's not his face!
I would love it if that became a thing.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of How This Get Made. You can always find us on our Facebook page and our Earwolf page. You can leave us comments, suggestions of movies, and play along with our games. You can follow me on Twitter at Paul Scheer. You can follow June at
Miss June Diane.
Adam at
Mr. Adam Scott.
Jason still not.
I'm not on Twitter.
And continue to watch Parks and Rec, which is just hilarious and amazing. This season is every episode gets better and better. Thanks for doing it. And
you're naked
thanks,
in the
guys.
next one, right?
Yeah, I'm
Full
actually naked in. There's 5 more episodes. I'm naked in all 5.
Wow,
Fantastic.
that's
And
really
you show
good.
your dick.
Yeah,
Oh,
full
yeah,
dick.
yeah. NBC for Thursday nights, 9:30 after The Office for the next 5 weeks. Full dick.
That's
Wonderful
amazing.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's really
Wonderful
cool.
stuff.
Tune in for that.
Yeah.
All right, check you out later. Bye bye.
How did this get made?